I'm Julie Bulitt. I've been a family therapist for over 30 years.
I'm David Bulitt. I've been a divorce and family lawyer for more than 35 years.
Together, we have been married for more than 37 years.
In our professional practices, the two of us have been witnesses to individuals and families struggling with life's most difficult challenges. In this podcast, we will talk about the conversations we have had,
The conversations we should have had.
and those that every relationship needs to have in order to find success, happiness, and fulfillment.
This is Conversations for Couples.
The podcast. Welcome back to Conversations for Couples.
The podcast.
We've got a very, very cool couple here today, Tisha and Phil Jordan. And I want to say that Phil came into my life because I came home from work one day and my wife said, I met this really interesting guy and good looking too. And,
Yes.
But I still think I'm going to need a new washing machine. So Phil and Tisha met each other on Bumble. They both swiped right, as they like to say, and they have built their family. They were married, was it 10 months after you met? Did I read that? Okay, so there we go. I got that right. They met 10 months after they met, got married 10 months after they met, and have six children. We're not going to make any references to the Brady Bunch, although I'm quite certain you've heard those jokes before. So welcome to the two of you. Tisha is a social worker and a contractor, and the two of them work together, are in business together, which is very cool to me. They have a podcast that's going to be coming out shortly. They'll tell us a little bit about that later on in the show. But welcome to you both here, and I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so nice to have you. So I met Phil. He had helped me out a little bit on some repairs around the house, and then I think I saw his phone, and I said, "Wow, who is that?" And he said, "That's my wife." And I said, "Wow, is she a model?" And he said, "No, you're never going to guess what she did." And I don't even remember what I guessed, but I guessed several things, and I never would have guessed a social worker and a contractor, that not as just a contractor, but you help other women learn to do things around their home. And I want to dive into that because I'm so intrigued. I feel like a little bit of a, failure because I'm a social worker as well, but yes, I'm a clinical social worker. So I feel like a little bit of a failure because I can do a couple things around the house, but I can't do what you do. So tell us a little bit. I want to dive into the relationship, but I definitely want to hear about your business.
Sure. Well, obviously I'm a social worker. I was doing social work for almost 2 decades. And I absolutely love it. And I thought I was going to do that for the rest of my life. But before I met my amazing husband, I was married. So was he, actually. And we'll talk about that. But I was married. I went through a divorce and I didn't have any money. And because we had just moved into our forever home. And so he had spent all our money on that home. Somehow, in the situation of the divorce, in the process, I was really stressed out. I knew that I couldn't stay in the same house with him until the process was over, but I didn't want to rent. So I ended up purchasing a home with very little money, and it was a beautiful space, but it needed to be renovated. And so I just started doing the projects out of necessity. That was it. In that process, I realized that I could not find a good contractor. They were untrustworthy. They didn't come when they were supposed to. They didn't do the work properly. And so essentially I just became the contractor that I could never find.
Wow.
It happened all by accident. And then, I hadn't, again, even during that, I had no intention of it becoming a business. It was just to do what I needed to do. What happened was I was on Instagram and I started posting things and people became very invested in my journey. And I was, I'm really transparent on my platform. And I had some videos that ended up going viral and people started asking where did you learn this stuff? And I was like, YouTube University, trial and error. And then I had a wild idea at the beginning of 2023 that I would host a class and I would invite women to come and see if it went well. And it went better than I could have ever imagined. I had women come from all across the country. It was sold out. And I realized that I was onto something. And I would say 4 months after that, I quit my social work job and started.
Wow. Very cool. And so I want to get into your business, but I do want to talk a little bit about how you two got together, how you met, and how you built your family.
Yeah.
We met on Bumble, like you said at the beginning. Never was a fan of online dating or meeting people through apps. But me being young, well, not young, but me being single and just looking for a little fun, I decided to give it a shot. And I came across a woman named Nikita with black hair. Sort of looks like her in Owings Mills in my area. So I'm like, Nikita. So she said, I think in the caption, it was like she was looking for an R&B romance or something like that. I'm a big R&B fan. And from there, we started talking, and here we are. But
very, very cool.
For, a good day and a half before I realized she was Tisha.
So how did that happen? Were you just not wanting to give your real name?
So I did not want to give my real name.
Yeah.
I knew that he lived in the area, and that was a little bit nerve-wracking for me. I had dated after my marriage was, or my divorce was finalized. I had dated, but I always dated people who were out of state. I did a lot of traveling for work, stuff like that. So, but I was trying to be very intentional about meeting someone who was local, that we could go out and have coffee, or we can have dinner on a Thursday night, that it didn't have to be this big like spectacle every single time. So that's why I ended up looking for somebody in our area. But I live on a through street, and I drive a bubblegum pink pickup truck. So I didn't want him to know exactly who I was yet, because there's a potential that he knew who I was from the community, or he knew where I lived before I would want him to know that.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I wanted to keep that level of privacy. And I have to commend him because he was incredibly respectful. I did let him know, after a day and a half, and I was like, this is not really my name. My name is Tisha. And in this day and age, the first thing people want to know is about your socials. Like, what's your Instagram? And I was like, I'm sorry that I can't give that to you. He was like, what do you mean? So the first thing I had to say to him is, I don't do OnlyFans. I promise you that.
The first thing I thought is, why is this woman not telling me?
Yeah.
But the conversation is so pure and it's so authentic and it's so real. And I'm falling in love with this woman that I've never even met in person. Right?
Wow.
I don't even know what she does, but I was so invested and I was into her so much that she could have been a janitor. I didn't care what she did. So I respected that she was like, it would all make sense in the beginning. In the end, but just bear with her. So I bared with her and I respected her because I liked her so much. And I thought it was OnlyFans, or I didn't.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I would not have even thought in a million years she was doing what she does.
He guessed so many things. Everything under the sun.
Yes.
What were a couple of good guesses? Give me a couple of good guesses.
Yeah, what were the guesses?
Secretary, a nurse, Instagram model.
Yeah, he thought that I did something like in the public eye. He didn't maybe I was an artist or
cheerleader. I don't know, one of the Ravens cheerleaders or something. I didn't know. I was just like, she's beautiful. She has to do something with those looks, right?
Yeah.
It happened to be a contractor, and
he waited. He had patience. What I think is so beautiful about the situation is, again, he was really respectful and he understood. I said, I don't want to let you know what it is because you might end up knowing who I am, but it'll make sense to you at some point. But in the process, like, we had such good connection without all the fluff, right? And I told him too, because the pictures he saw me, I had black hair. People know me for blonde hair. I've had blonde hair for almost 20 years, but there was like a short period where I let my roots grow in really long and it looked like my hair was black. So, I kind of tricked him and I was transparent.
Catfish.
I said, it was not
in a very good way, catfish.
Right. Catfish.
Yeah. Sponsorship from them too. So
that's so funny.
Within 4 days, we knew, without all that extra stuff, I knew that this was the person for me.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And he knew that I was the person for him. It was out of a fairy tale.
So I wanted to ask about that because you got married after 10 months. So 4 days in, you kind of just knew. What was different about this relationship than other relationships? What were the, signs, if you will?
I can't explain it. It's like it's like something hit me like this is it. I couldn't explain. I can't tell you what it was. All I know is I told her I love her. What we met
on a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday. I told her I was loving her. I loved her. What, Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the caveat. I never even saw her in person.
Oh, wait, before you loved her, you never saw her in person?
We were phone conversation, no FaceTime, nothing.
Phone conversation. It was
That
amazing.
took a lot of confidence, my friend.
To this day, I don't know. You Jamaican. I don't know some type of, I don't know.
Don't do me like that.
But Tisha, let me ask. So when he told you that,
yeah, what did you think?
What was your reaction, both intellectually and emotionally?
I said, I know that this sounds crazy, but I love you too. And if this was in any other situation, this would have been an indication to run for the hills.
Right?
Yeah.
Tells somebody that they love them after 3-4 days. That's crazy. But I had the same sentiment. Like something about it just felt so right. And like I said, I had been dating and I had met some really, really great people, but I knew that they weren't the person for me. And I just really felt, I'm a very spiritual person. And I just feel like God didn't put me through all of the things in life for me to just settle for something that's like, all right. Like it's good. But I felt like God handpicked somebody and was like, I got somebody for you. But I just got to make sure you're ready for it. And when Phil and I met, I was like, that's it. I knew it. And I was always so like shy when I met his friends and stuff because they're just seeing or hearing about me for the first time. And he's like, this is going to be my wife.
Yeah.
Meet Mrs. Jordan. I was like, okay.
Wow. That's great.
When did you let him see the pink truck?
Well, you know what's crazy? Oh, so in the midst of us talking on the phone, we realized that we lived literally 4 minutes from each other.
Wow.
So when I found out who she was and what she does, I seen the pink truck. I think in the back of my mind, I started thinking, I've seen that truck. It's in the area. We live in the same area. So I've seen it just, how something comes back to you, but not quite. And I said, yeah, I've seen that truck. But I thought it was awesome. It was big, these big monster wheels on it. That's badass. Like,
no kidding.
Yeah, you guys are a badass couple.
Thank you.
I want to hear a little bit about, okay, so Tisha, you had gone through a divorce. Phil, had you gone through a divorce or were you single? Tell me a little bit about the status.
Yes, I was single when I met her, but I had gone through a divorce as well.
Okay.
I had 2 children from that.
Okay, so you had 2 kids, and Tisha, you had kids as well?
Yes. So I have a very blended family.
It's
so when I say 6, right? 6 seems like a huge number. So I gave birth to 3 children. But when I met my ex-husband, he had kids. And so his oldest daughter, her and I have always been like this. I knew her since she was 12. She's 27 now. And so I grew with her. And so that is my daughter. So I came into the relationship with 4 kids and he came with 2. So
okay, gotcha. And you don't have you don't have to explain to us. We're a blended family of adopted. We have 2 adopted children and 2 biological, and blood doesn't make you family.
No.
Yeah. So that's really cool. So 6, and then so how long have you guys been married now?
Since January 12th, we're coming up on our first
almost a year.
Wow. So. Yeah. So what are the things that, I mean, you both are really busy. I know you're, running here, running there between the kids and businesses. What are the things that you guys do as a couple to keep connected?
You can say it.
I don't even know why I'm laughing.
So we're a couple of laughter. Like laughing that's our love language. Just laughing and having fun. And I told her somewhere out through our relationship, I told her that I would rather the sex go away than the laughing. I had to pick one because it's
infectious.
Yes.
We giggle and we laugh and we bust jokes about everything, like literally till our sides hurt. And that's why I was laughing, because we just have such a good time. And so in the midst of life just lifing us on a
Yeah.
regular basis, we make sure that we make time to connect by like laughing. We joke about things. I'm not a TV watcher, but he has now introduced me to TV life. And so we'll watch things together that we can just, joke about. And again, back to the social media, part of our love language is sending each other funny things
Uh-huh.
throughout the day. And
Yeah.
we talk about it later. And we also try to implement date nights, getting
Yeah.
away from the kids because our house can be very chaotic.
Sure.
Mhm.
We don't do it as much as we want to. We're supposed to do it every week, but we do
Okay.
it at least once a month, where we go out. We have to get dressed. Like we have to be
Yes.
dressed.
Mhm.
That's our thing. We like
Mhm.
We
What-
love to get dressed.
what the young kids say, pop out. We like to pop out.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And
and just look fly. That's our thing. When we go to church, they think we're like superstars.
I know.
Well, it makes you feel,
Yeah,
it makes
no,
you
it makes
feel
you
good.
feel
It makes you
good.
feel good. It was interesting. We had a woman who is in New York. She's a fashion person, been on TV and so forth. And she talked about that, about how when people get dressed or whatever they like to do, it makes them feel good. And we sort of feel, we're sort of the same.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, when everybody was locked in and couldn't do anything, we specifically set out time, and we weren't going anywhere, but even in the house, we'd have a drink or we might watch TV or whatever it is. And I'd send her upstairs and no, you're not wearing your social work suit to our date. You got to go change, come on back. And she'd get dressed and we would pretend we were doing something, not being just on our couch, but it does. It makes you feel good.
Yeah,
I think so.
It's really important. So really, I feel like there's so many parallels between us. First of all, David and I laugh a lot.
Yeah.
And I would say we've been married 39 years. And what's got us through some of the hardest times is laughing, and maybe inappropriate laughing, at things that aren't funny. Because if you don't laugh, you'll cry.
Sex
Yeah.
is okay too. That helped too.
And the sex is good too.
Just to say.
So
Sorry.
laughing and getting dressed. And I will say to you that I think you need to up if you're trying for once a week, I think once a week should be your minimum in terms of the date nights. I think you have to, the once a month that's not enough. You need it at least. It doesn't have to be a date, like a formal date, but it can be like you go to coffee or you go to lunch or you take a walk around the block. Like you need that consistent connection.
Well, it sounds like they're watching shows and stuff together, which is kind of what we do. We do the same thing. We pick a show that we stream and we sit down each night and maybe watch for a half hour, even a couple hours, whatever it might be.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you guys, what has been the hardest thing with, sort of blending your families? Because we get questions around that all the time. And we've worked with other couples that have had, issues around that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. You want to go?
Yeah. At first, it's the being comfortable. My biggest thing is being comfortable chastising,
Yeah.
her children. And it's like, at first it was like, I don't feel comfortable. And sometimes she look at me like, tell her to do it or tell him. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't feel comfortable sometimes. But now I tell them, them kids are my kids. So I tell them my biological kids, I tell them whatever I need to tell them, just like my kids. So at first that was an issue. I think we kind of had a spat about it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Here and there. She thinks I'm sensitive to my children, but
He's definitely sensitive to his children, which he should be. They're your babies. Like, I totally get it. I think aside from like having to deal with exes, the children is definitely the most complex because he raised his children very differently than I raised my children. And not in any like it's a right or a wrong way, but it's just different. I grew up in a Caribbean household, and so we just have different customs, you know what I mean? And and his is just very different. So I think that the children is really the most difficult. In terms of how do we move past that? How do we work collectively and make sure that this is not something that tears us apart? Is patience. We have to have patience for each other. I really appreciated something that his mother said on the day that we got married. And she was like, whatever you do, do not let these kids get in between you and your marriage. I don't care what it is. It's you, the two of you come before them. And in my head, I couldn't wrap my mind around that at first. I was like, because we're just, especially as a mom, you're like, your kids, everything is your kids come first, right? But I really took heed to that. And I think that that piece of information has really helped in some of the conversations that we've had. Because at the end of the day, I have to, after God is my husband. And then I have to handle the kids. And if what's interesting is that although it felt, when I heard the information, that it would be really complex, when I did it in that order, things just fell into place. And the kids have a very clear respect for us as parents, whether we gave birth to them or not. Like, it's very even keeled. And I really, really love that for us.
Yeah, I think that's, that's a really important thing. And you guys are though you married, you have kids, and it's not like you're in your 20s. You've been around a bit. You understand how things work. But, and we've talked about this. We had our own issues with one of our kids, and often found ourselves disagreeing about one thing or the other. But the one thing we did is what you just talked about, which is I think we did a really good job of not allowing any of the other kids in the family to see that we were disagreeing. So if you asked any of all my kids are grown, if you ask any of them now, they would don't remember us disagreeing, which I think is one of the few things we did well.
Yeah. Because
we did well. A lot of things not so well. But that was one of the things we did well.
Because I think, well, first of all, I love that your mother-in-law gave you that advice.
Yep.
And I agree. That's great advice. And kids really need to feel and see their parents together. And even if they're not exactly on the same page, it's comforting to them. And when parents are fighting or not getting along or disagreeing, kids tend to wedge in there a little bit. And you know that from your social work school and background and all the stuff that you've done. And I love that. So blending your family, would you say that's been the hardest part of the relationship, or have there been other things?
I don't feel like anything's been really hard.
No,
The only thing that's been hard in our relationship is external. And it was finances.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Finances has been the only thing. And it wasn't something that created problems between him and I. It was just like, life has just come to this point. The economy was changing significantly. I'm running a business. He's working. I'm trying to tell him, hey, you don't need to work at that job. Fuck those people. We're going to run our own shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the economy was like, he was looking at me like, okay, well,
I trusted you.
What do you want us to do here?
So did you quit and have to go back? Is that part of the story?
Yeah. So I had a job, and at the time, I thought it was a great idea.
It was a great idea.
It was a great idea.
It still was a great idea.
It was just, I just believed in the business so much, and I just wanted to be a part of it. And I quit, and I came, and we still work together.
Mm-hmm.
We was working together every day,
Mm-hmm.
every hour and hour we was together. And
you see that? That's the thing.
No. But I am learning. I I love my wife so much.
You're so good.
When I tell you, this is God has blessed me. I am blessed. I love her, but I need time to miss my wife.
Sure.
I just need a little time to miss. And I've noticed when I went back to work, I noticed that I just came in the house just like, hey, babe. It's more of a just, I don't know. It's just better because when we work all day, we come in the house together. It's like, okay, we're looking at each other. What we eating? There's no excitement.
Yeah.
Even excitement being with you every second.
Mm-hmm.
It's just.
Yeah.
And so I stopped working with her full time, and I went back and went back to work. So.
Gotcha. Well, one of the things we talked about, I think it was in the second book, is, the sports analogies, there's no I in team, right? But when it comes to a relationship, there is an I and we. And I think that for us, also, like you're talking about, being a part is important. In fact, tonight, Julie, I'm Ubering Julie to her girlfriend's house where she's going out with her girlfriends tonight, and it's just me and the dogs, and we're gonna be watching some shows she won't watch. So I'm gonna have a good night myself. Yeah. But it's a good thing.
Yeah,
I think it is a good thing.
It is. It's good. It's healthy for your relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm dropping her off at what is it, girls' wine night?
They're having. I don't even drink, but I'm going just to participate.
Okay,
I'm dropping her off. So
that sounds fun. So I want to dive in a little bit to the podcast and what you guys are planning for your podcast and what it's going to be about. And I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be.
The title,
Oh, it's called The Love
The
Bill.
Love Bill.
I love that.
Yeah.
Podcast.
And we wanted to bring just our perspective, a space for us to bring our perspective on relationships. And I think a lot of what has happened for us leading up to our marriage and then since our marriage has been kind of unconventional. And I wanted to have a space to talk openly about that, to have more space to laugh and bring laughter to other people, and to talk about the things that have helped us. And I think that with the social work background, I do come with a certain like theoretical type perspective. But we have just been through a lot of stuff. And I I have this thing about people like walking in their purpose. And I really feel like God has put me through I have been his strongest soldier for a long time. Okay. Let's put it that way. I've been through a lot of things, and so has Phil. And I think that the nothing, there's nothing like experience to help another person. And so we just wanted to have a platform to be able to share that and to, you know, talk about some of the tools that we're using and how things have changed with our family, and just to create that platform to potentially help other people, because life is hard doing stuff by yourself.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is.
I love that. And, being married is really hard. And
Not for you. For you, it's easy.
it's
For me, it's a
really,
struggle.
really hard. And there's some days where you're like, I don't know if I can do this long term. And then other days that you wouldn't think about anything else, right? So I think it's wonderful and important to be able to, just say it. Like, we can look at people on Instagram, we can look at people around and think that they have the best relationship, the easiest marriage, things are always great, but it's not. It's really hard work. And you guys sound like you've done a lot of work. And I love the idea of the podcast. And David and I would be honored if you have guests to come on and talk about whatever.
Let me ask one quick question, because your business is very interesting to me, Tisha. Called ContractHER, right?
Yes.
So, and I know we talked about it briefly at the beginning, and I don't want to belabor the point, but talk a little bit about, what your why is for that business.
My why is, the whole premise of the business is empowerment, specifically for women. So to kind of go off the point earlier, and there are all these assumptions about what I potentially would be doing based on the way that I look. And it doesn't go over my head that I know that people will look at me and think that I'm a conventionally good looking person. But I have always had an issue with people putting me in a box, and putting people in general in a box. And as a woman of color specifically, all these people kind of turned their head at me like, you're going to do what? And I was like, this is exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it well, and watch me. And so I want to create a space, especially in the world of skilled trades, for women. I want little girls to be able to look and be like, oh, I didn't even know that this is something that I could do, that I can make a living out of.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, when I started this 3-4 years ago, I didn't think of it again as being some like big movement, but especially now with the way AI is changing the world so significantly, jobs are not going to look the same. I have no idea what my kids are going to do when they get older at this point, because the way that the playbook that we knew, you go to school, you get a good job. It's not like that anymore, right? These degrees that people have, they're not holding the same amount of weight. And
yeah,
so skilled
exactly.
trades are going to be really, really important. And I want to make sure that there's representation, and that there's a level of empowerment, and that people can see you don't have to look a certain way. You don't have to be a certain way to get into these spaces. And I want to make sure that we start that. If I have to start the trend, then let's make that happen. And so in teaching these classes, it's everyday women who are coming from all walks of life. I have trauma surgeons. I have people who work for the government. I have anything you think, you name it. It's, they come to my class, and I see that little glimmer in their eyes when they use the miter saw for the first time. And they're like, oh, now I realize all the things that I can do, right? I want people to know that they're capable of so much more, and you can create the life that you want for yourself.
That's wonderful. And I love what you're doing, on so many levels as a social worker, but also as a woman, as a grandmother. I have a little 5-year-old granddaughter. And last week I installed, and you're not going to think this is a big deal, but I installed the Ring doorbell.
That is a big deal.
Okay. Thank you. I was a little embarrassed to talk about this, but I used, I had a drill. I need to get a better drill, but I have a small drill, and I showed her. She did it with me. We drilled holes. David was like, you need to drill holes in the new siding. I'm
just
like,
put a new door
I'm
in.
like,
She's
I do. If you
blowing
want,
holes,
he didn't want me to do it. He wanted me to tape the thing up. And I was like, no, I got to make some holes here. And I showed her, and she helped me. She used the drill too. And I'm like, this is empowering her. Like, this is showing her that a woman can do these kinds of things, and that you can't be afraid.
What I really love about the two of you is it is unconventional, I think, in a lot of ways. But the way that you just made this call, I love this person. 96 hours in, whatever. There's something there. I feel it. I'm not going to wait and see. I'm not going to play games. I'm not going to see if she does this or this, see what happens first. And you just went and you did it. And to me, that's very, very inspiring. Believe it or not, as a divorce lawyer, but as not just, but as a human being, I think it's amazing. And her response, that's why I was very interested to find out, Tisha, because somebody could have said, 4 days.
What's wrong with this guy?
What did you say to the girl you saw last week? Kind of a thing. But no, you had the same sense, which I think is just,
I think it's great.
Just so cool.
I think it's great.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
It was just the bonding, the things we talked about. I can't even. It's an unexplainable.
When people say when you know,
yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, you know. I love it. So, if people want to get in touch with you, where is the best place to do that? How do we get more of the two of you? Because I think you need to. We need more.
So we have our Instagram, The Love Build. We also have our YouTube. So our videos are not up yet, but they will be, and they're going to be good. I promise. And then if you're interested in any of the ContractHER stuff, you can find me at @the_contract_her on Instagram, website, www.thecontracther.com.
My Instagram ain't that exciting, so
that's okay.
You can find him through all my stuff.
You just go to hers, but
he was there on a lot of hers. And folks, all this information is going to be in our show notes. You guys are really terrific. We're anxious to see where life takes you next. We're really looking forward to listening to and seeing the podcast and looking at the growth of ContractHER. So thank you two so much for joining us. Everyone out there, thank you for being part of this growing little community that we started.
Please subscribe.
Yes.
To Conversations for Couples,
the podcast. Julie Bulitt is a professionally licensed clinical social worker and family therapist. David Bulitt is a divorce and family lawyer. Julie is not your therapist, and David is not your lawyer. This podcast is meant for educational and entertainment purposes only.